Hi, welcome to the Quantity Surveying Studio. So hope everyone is doing good, staying safe, having a great time in your career. In this video, we'll be looking into some important steps for successful change management. If you are watching this channel for the first time, please do subscribe for quantity surveying related videos. Do let me know your comments, share it with your friends, do like it if you have found it to be useful. So without further delay, let's move into the video. So first important step is basically to identify what the change is. Definitely in a construction sector, no project can be completed with the initial design. So there are going to be a lot of changes happening in a construction project. There might be an addition of a room, addition of a building, there might be deletion of building. So when a new room is added, there would be a lot of works associated with that particular room, new MEP services, light, AC ducts, pipes. There might be some structural changes. There could be some interior design changes, architectural changes. So definitely what the initial design was, that is not going to be the final one. The first step is to identify that particular scope. So if you are a contractor or a subcontractor, you need to identify it and have that explanation or clarity to your managers, to letting them know that such and such work is going to happen which is out of our scope. So definitely we need to do something about it. So that is the first step to identify. Next is the documentation part, which is very important. Definitely additional change would be having an impact on cost, time, labor. These should be analyzed and worked out, like the costing for that new change, what would be the materials required, the labors required if you would be requiring some specialist contractor to do that, and what would be the timelines. That would there would be a initial base timeline, and if at all that would extend our initial project completion date, this particular new scope of work. So all these needs to be analyzed and worked out. A costing should be done, a timeline should be worked out about how much days are required to complete this work, whether this would affect the original scope of the work and original timeline of this completion of this project. All these needs to be properly documented, which is a very important step, because this is important thing is the money. If you see in a construction project, lot of cost overruns happen due to these variations. As a consultant, when you get such documentation worked out from the subcontractor, you have to carefully review it, analyze it, and as a subcontractor or contractor who is carrying out this work, you need to have this proper documentation, proper costing, or else it could be a loss for you. So that is the next step, which is documentation. The third step is review. So once the documentation is done, all your works or like all your costing and everything is worked out, you have to submit it to the main contractor or a consultant or the client. If you're a subcontractor, you submit to the main contractor. If you're a main contractor, you'll be submitting to the consultant or client, directly the client. Depending upon who the hierarchical stakeholders are, you have to submit it to them so that they could assess it properly. There would be some quantity surveyors or cost managers in their departments, and they would be reviewing this to understand whether this is out of the scope, actually out of the scope, and if it is actually out of the scope, whether the costings done are right, no, the rates used are right, whether if the timelines that is getting affected is right or wrong. So all this assessment is done during this review process. Then comes the step of negotiation. So once that assessment is happens, there would be some changes required. Sometimes the consultant might say that, oh, we don't need this many lights, we'll again change the design, or there might be some higher rates used by the contractor, so the consultant might ask to renegotiate that rate. It is like higher than the normal market rate. So based on that, they might require for a quotations or how that rate analysis has been done. So all these negotiations will happen during this stage. At the end, there will be a final agreement that comes up between the two parties. So this is the complete process of negotiation. And finally, the implementation part. So after the negotiation is done and agreement has come upon, it needs to be documented. There should be a final like agreement in a contractual way. So then a change or a variation order is provided to start that work, and once that is required, once that is received, the works get executed. So normally sometimes what happens is, even before these variation orders are officially provided, the contractors might start the work. This is something that causes a lot of arguments or disputes happening. So the best step is to actually get this change or variation order, then to start the work, or else get some kind of communication. It shouldn't be a verbal communication, because anytime that could be changed. A written communication, a mail, a paperwork, any paperwork or mail, or the best one is this change or variation order, so that this work can be executed. So here implementation steps carries out and the work gets executed. So these are the main 5 steps that needs to be followed for a perfect change order management. Thanks a lot for watching this small video. Please do subscribe to Quantity Surveying Studio if you found it to be useful. Take care. Bye.